Before we point fingers at corporations or at other people for using food stamps, let's pause. Because the truth is, we're all part of the system. If you have a 401k, an index fund, or even a work retirement plan, you probably benefit every time someone swipes their EBT card. So today, we're going to follow the money. We're going to look at how our good intentions got twisted, and we're going to talk about what we can all do together to rebuild a food system that feeds everyone with dignity. We may go to places in this video that you're not expecting. While that was originally intended for the money to go to farmers to feed people in the local community, really keeping the money in the community and feeding our neighbors, it has become twisted over time, and we covered that in the video. Now I want to go a little bit deeper about how you benefit by this going to the big corporations, because where we ended with the twisted truth is that the big corporations had lobbied to receive the SNAP benefits by making their products eligible. So let's just play this out. When SNAP benefits are spent at a big grocery store or brand name companies on brand name products, those companies earn a profit, and those profits lift the stock prices, sitting inside of millions of retirement plans and mutual funds, possibly yours. So before we get angry about where our tax dollars go, remember that many of us benefit from the same system that we criticize. That doesn't make us bad, but most of us are unaware. We focus on families getting food on the table, but we forget that the stores who employ people in our community and truck drivers and other people stay in business as a result, and investors get steady returns. You see, we have to look at who all benefits from SNAP, not just the family getting food on their table. With this awareness, we can all now take some responsibility for this and contribute to the change, knowing that if we lose those dollars in the system, you will also lose those dollars in your pensions, 401ks, and retirement funds. But there is a price that we pay as well. The price shows up in our health, our declining productivity, our declining test scores, and we're all paying the price for that. While real food qualifies for SNAP, many families don't have the means to prepare real food. So the cheapest, fastest options seem to be the ultra-processed ones, those ones with the long shelf life. They fill a belly, but they starve the brain. You know, there's rules that say that people on SNAP can buy a raw chicken, but not a rotisserie chicken. And then you realize that some families don't have the means to cook raw chicken. The system assumes everyone can cook from scratch, but my experience as a health coach says otherwise. Even educated adults have lingered after my lectures and have shared with me that they don't know what healthy looks like, and many of them don't know how to cook. So families do what anyone would do. They survive the best they can. So let's talk about the cost of convenience beyond the grocery bill. Did you know that the United States now spends 17 to 18% of our entire economy on healthcare? That means nearly 1 in every $5 that we earn goes straight into the medical system. And what drives those costs? Well, a lot of it traces back to what we eat. So while we argue about whether or not to support fellow Americans with SNAP benefits, we haven't addressed the real drain on our economy, and that is poor health. The National Institutes of Health estimate that poor diets, heavy in processed foods, add over $50 billion a year in medical bills for heart disease, diabetes, and stroke alone. Other researchers put that broader cost of diet-related illness at over $1 trillion each year. I can't even wrap my head around that. When you add lost workdays and disability, where is the outrage about this? For families using food assistance, about 55% of their calories come from ultra-processed foods, slightly higher than the national average. But the health impact hits harder when they have less access to medical care. So the price we pay isn't just doctor bills, it's lower energy, lost focus, shorter lives. There's less money left for schools, small businesses, or local farms. And make no mistake, we all pay. And the government has us divided and in disagreement over who should get SNAP instead of focused on solutions that will fix the system. Sure, if you scroll TikTok, you're going to see clips of people bragging about their benefits, talking about how they sell them. They go viral, comments explode. Look at these freeloaders. But take a step back. Does that 30-second video represent 40 million people? Or is it clickbait that's meant to divide us? Yes, few do abuse the system, and others are trapped in it. And millions are quietly working, paying taxes, and they still need help. All can be true at once. When we fight each other, we stop noticing the real issue. The system is working perfectly for profits, not for people. Social Security isn't charity, it's a promise. Food assistance isn't a handout. It's a bridge between paychecks, and we label people as lazy. We forget that compassion isn't weakness. It's how communities stay strong. Every time we argue taxpayer versus freeloader, someone is profiting. Trust me. Outrage keeps us distracted, while giant corporations keep selling the cheapest, most addictive foods. Division is good for ratings, probably great for stockholders, terrible for us building resilient communities. So let's try a new strategy. We're going to start with compassion, because compassion is cheaper than conflict. When we invest in things like cooking classes, community gardens, small farms, we start feeding people better. We see medical bills drop. Local dollars stay in our community. We're healthier. We're more resilient. This is smart economics. We don't have to agree on politics to agree on this. Everyone deserves access to real food, and everyone can contribute. You can teach a recipe, share a meal, support a local grower, plant a garden. Here's what already works. We know there's programs like Double Up Food Bucks that matches SNAP dollars for fruits and veggies. There's SNAP Ed classes. There's community kitchens. We should build more of those. Neighbors cooking and eating together. Let's go deeper, because food security is not the same as food sovereignty. Learning to cook and teaching children to cook is not just a fun activity. It's a fundamental life skill. It's an act of defiance against a system that tells us convenience is progress. When we cook, we take back control of our health, our budget, and our future. We fulfill the original purpose of every food assistance program, to nourish our people, not just fill the shelves. Think about it. A bag of lentils, a sack of potatoes, and a few seasonal vegetables can feed a family for a week for less than the cost of 2 pizzas. And what you gain isn't just nutrients, it's confidence, because cooking at home builds patience, planning, and problem solving. Every meal from scratch is a small declaration of independence. Before we blame people on benefits, let's remember that we may be benefiting as well. You may be benefiting directly through your investments, jobs in your community, keeping your local businesses open, or your farmer fed. So we have broken systems. The truth is, it isn't just about families on SNAP. It's about all of us. Every one of us leans on convenience in some form, whether it's takeout dinners, drive-through coffee, pre-cut produce, who buys the peeled carrots? Come on. And even government programs that make our lives possible. We've all built a culture that rewards speed over skill, comfort over curiosity, and consumption over creation. We need to become creators and not consumers. If we were creators and contributors, we'd all be cooking, growing, creating more. We'd be able to come together and solve these problems. We'd have backyard gardens and community farms and food forests. But somewhere along the way, we outsourced not just our food, we outsourced our connection. So when I talk about the cost of convenience, I'm not pointing at anyone. I'm holding up a mirror for all of us. We've all been sold the same story, that busy is better and that instant is a success. We've earned easy street, but the truth is creativity, community, and health all live on the other side of effort. And when we start creating again together, we reclaim not only our freedom, but we reclaim our meaning. Make sure you watch my video on the psychology of powerlessness, because food sovereignty doesn't require a revolution. It begins with a cutting board and a pot of soup. This week, make a pot of soup, share it with a neighbor, and leave me a comment, because the real recipe for freedom isn't outrage. It's empathy, education, and everyone around the table. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.